Hi everyone, hope you're good. So today I'll be showing you two different types of clay masks you can make with the same product, and that is Fuller's Earth. It's also known as calcium bentonite. So I got my Fuller's Earth from a brand called classical.com. It was a brand I found on Amazon and it was the cheapest option I could find. And then we have raw apple cider vinegar with the mother. It is unfiltered and unpastured. Actually, you need to get unpastured and unfiltered apple cider vinegar. Normal apple cider vinegar will not work for this. It doesn't have the same properties. And then we have glycerin. And then we have some rosewater. Again, I got this from Amazon. And just your basic clear honey. You can see that's from Sainsbury's. And then we have the essential oils. So first we have frankincense. Next we have peppermint oil. And then we have rosemary oil. And lastly, we have lavender. So I wanted to show you two containers that I found at Primark. I think they came as part of a 4-pack and they're really good size as well. I think they're about 30 ml and 40 ml. It's just really good because they come with a stopper, so even if you do have an accident not screwing it properly, you do have the stopper as an extra bit of security. So I'm just going to shake up the apple cider vinegar just to make sure that I get some of the sediments at the bottom mixed in with actual apple cider vinegar floating at the top. And I'm going to pour in firstly 1 tablespoon. Next, I'm going to top that up with some water, some bottled water, about the same amount. And at this point, I guess I should have realized that I should have transferred the contents of this container into another bowl to make it easier for me to mix, but I will realize that later. So I'm topping that up with about the same amount of rose water, or actually a little bit more. It's about 1.5 tablespoons. And then I went in with the peppermint oil. So this is the first clay mask. So the first is peppermint oil based. And I wanted this to be more of a tingly type. And as you can see there, that peppermint oil is very, very runny. That was way too much. I will find out later and you actually see what happens. So next I went in with the frankincense. Frankincense is just one of those really good essential oils for fading scars. It really, really is good for that. That is the only reason I actually bought it. Yeah, apart from that, I didn't know anything about frankincense apart from what I read in the Bible. Okay, so back to the peppermint oil. You definitely want to make sure you don't add as much as I did to such a small container. Peppermint oil is one of those really, really strong minty oils, and obviously it is an antibacterial oil as well. You don't need as much as I put in there. So because it was so runny, I think I actually ended up putting in about 8 drops without knowing, and really you only need about 3 or 4. So I first went in with a couple scoops of the Fuller's Earth. This, as you can see, isn't really a measured recipe. I was just mixing and trying to make it to a consistency that I wanted. If you want exact measurements, I can always add that later on. Just comment down below, let me know. But you can make this any way you want, and I just wanted to make a mask based off of what I felt on the day that I needed. So I'm not necessarily the type to follow a recipe. I've always had issues with that. I will read a recipe and then start changing it along the way. Yeah, I'm just not very good at following recipes, so I'm not really a recipe type of person anyway. But as you can see, I added a couple teaspoons of the Fuller's Earth and realized that the container was full very quickly. So I then had to transfer it into another container that allowed me to actually mix it properly. So yeah, I think I added about 3 or 4 teaspoons, and also I'm using a plastic spoon. From what I know about, what is the other one? From what I know about bentonite clay, I know you're not supposed to use something metallic, like a metallic tool with that. So I just basically did the same thing. I just to err on the side of caution, I decided to use a plastic utensil. But again, you can do whatever you feel like doing. So yes, I've tipped it into a bigger container just so it'll make my life a lot easier to mix it. I then went in with 2 more teaspoons of the Fuller's Earth just to make it a much more thicker consistency. And once I was happy with that, I continued mixing and then transferred it into the container, and miraculously enough, the majority of the mask actually ended up fitting the container. I think it was a bit deceptive because it was quite runny at the time, but even with the amount of Fuller's Earth that I actually added to make it a thicker consistency, the majority of the mask fitted into that container. So things can be deceptive at first. But yeah, if you do happen to overmix into, if you do happen to have more mixture than you can fit into your whatever your container is, you can also put it into like a little bit of cling film or another clean container, and then just store it in the fridge to make it a nice cooling mask. So I realized I'd added too much Fuller's Earth and added a little bit more apple cider vinegar, about a teaspoon's worth, and then mixed it again. And with apple cider vinegar, you want to make sure that you've mixed it thoroughly, because it is quite strong on its own. You definitely don't want to have any pockets of Fuller's Earth and, you know, pockets of apple cider vinegar that aren't diluted properly, which is why I didn't just base this on apple cider vinegar and just honey. I also diluted the mixture with water. Yeah, I just didn't want it to be too harsh for my skin. And that is the consistency that I was looking for. And now onto the transferal process and actually trying to get it to fit into the container. And now onto the second mask. So knowing that the first mask was going to be more of a, I guess, a cleansing, pore refining type of mask because of the peppermint oil and the amount of apple cider vinegar that I added in there, I wanted this one to be a more of a hydrating mask. So I added more Rosewater and I added the Glycerin. So Glycerin is an excellent humectant. It doesn't get as much props as it should. And with a lot of skincare, you would normally see glycerin in the first line, at least in the first 5 ingredients, because it is such an excellent humectant. It holds moisture really well and it keeps your skin really supple. And just to add an extra bit of suppleness, I added the honey. I added 2 tablespoons. Why do I keep saying tablespoons? I added 2 teaspoons of honey, only because it's a small, actually I say 2 teaspoons. I added an extra, like a 2.5 maybe, yeah, about 2.5 teaspoons of honey. I then went in with the lavender essential oil, only because I wanted this mask to be a bit more of a relaxing, calming type of mask. So I added about 2-3 drops of that. And then went in with the rosemary, and I do actually like the smell. I like the combination of lavender and rosemary together, which is why I was actually why I decided to use rosemary oil. Rosemary is good for getting your circulation going as well. So yeah, the two together would be one of the 2 ingredients that I would want in a calming type of mask. I then mixed all the liquids together thoroughly before going in with some more Fuller's Earth. And because this container is smaller, I added less. But then, as you can see, I realized again I was going to make the same mistake. So I decided to tip it into the same ramekin just to make it easier for me to mix. So I did not end up putting the Fuller's Earth into that teeny tiny container. So next I went in with a couple teaspoons of the Fuller's Earth. So that was just 1. I'm trying to see if I can count it here, so at least I can let you know how many I actually added. That's 2, 3 very heaped teaspoons, by the way. So that's 3 heaped teaspoons I added. And then I went in with some more rose water. If I had added more glycerin, I think this mask would have been a little bit too moisturizing, and I was a bit worried that it wouldn't have dried down, because glycerin is essentially, well, it's very moisturizing. So yeah, I just wanted it to act in a similar way to any clay mask, but then I also didn't want it to dry my skin out and totally strip my skin. I wanted it to have a more of a moisturizing effect after washing it off. So I went in with a little bit more of the rose water, just to thin the mixture down a little bit more. Again, you want to make sure that this mixture is thoroughly mixed in, especially with the essential oils as well. You don't want to have any pockets of air where the essential oil isn't mixed in thoroughly, because you don't want to put raw essential oils on your skin. Yeah, it's not really ideal. It's a very concentrated blend of oils. Yeah, so you just want to make sure that it is thoroughly mixed in. After adding a little bit more of the rose water, I was happy with the consistency. Okay, so on to the application. So on my left side I have the peppermint mask, and on my right I have the one with more rose water and moisturizing ingredients. So I have these 3 spatulas that I got for £1 from Primark, and they're just great for applying masks. So I started applying the peppermint oil mask first, and pay close attention to what's going on the upper region of my face and why I might be blinking so much. More into that later. So yeah, I just thought I'd apply the peppermint oil mask and just let that work its magic before I go onto the other side of my face and apply the rose water mask. So I'm just making sure I don't actually apply this to my my eye area, because obviously I know it's a drying mask and your under eyes don't produce oil for them to be oily, so I don't need them for my under eye area. So yeah, as you can see, the peppermint oil is causing me to blink profusely as if I'm under interrogation, but yeah. So I just thought I'd quickly apply the rose water mask. As you can see, it's a slightly different consistency. It's slightly thinner because obviously it has more liquid in it, and yeah, it's just a lot easier to apply to the rest of my face. And you can also see that the peppermint oil mask side is basically has more product, so it's thicker. So I mean, it's down to you in terms of how you mix it, but that's just how it turned out for me. And as you can see, again, my eyes are watering, so be very, very careful when you're using essential oils, especially mints and peppermint in general. It is extremely strong. Obviously I didn't know it was going to come out like it did when I tipped the bottle over, so yeah, just be careful with how many drops you apply. So I moved on to these collagen hydrogel eye patches that I got from, again, Poundland. It was just something that I've never tried before. I thought I might as well try it and just see if it does anything. I don't particularly have dry under eyes, but they're kind of like a nice thing to have. I mean, I'm putting on a mask on the whole of my face, so I might as well just pay a little bit more attention to my under eye area. Just a word of advice, you might want to move it down a bit more. So if you're applying this, you don't need to be as close to your eyes. Basically, that was my mistake here. The patches were like a millimeter away from my eyeballs, so yeah, you don't need to have them so up close and, you know, all up in your business, but just have them a bit further down. I found that they were kind of getting in my way, but because I'd already applied them, I didn't want to have to move them. So yeah, so you don't need to apply them as so close to your under eye area as I did. So yeah, they did feel really nice, and I think a good trick for these eye patches is to put them in the fridge again, so it helps if you've got really puffy under eyes. So I think I waited about 30 minutes for the mask to dry. As you can see, the peppermint oil side dried much quicker, and you can see the rose water side is still a little bit patchy in places, but I'm ready to wash it off, and you don't necessarily need to wait for the whole thing to dry. If you feel like it's done enough, you can wash it off. So I'm just going to use my pink magic makeup remover cloth to remove the mask. I find that it's a lot easier and less messy. I'm not really about, you know, messy makeup application or makeup removal. I always use this mask, or any type of thing. When it comes to washing my face or taking off makeup, I always use a flannel. I'm not about that life of splashing water on my face and getting makeup water everywhere and getting, you know, in this case, the mask everywhere. So it's just a lot more of an efficient way to get a mask like this off without creating a whole mess and a puddle under your sink. So yeah, I just used the flannel to remove the residual bits of the mask, and I had a feel on my cheeks just to see how my cheeks felt, or at least how my face felt. So on the left side of my face, I noticed that my face felt a lot drier and tighter than the right side of my face, where I had the Rosewater and, you know, the Glycerin and, you know, the honey. So it depends on what you want for your skin, but even for my oily skin, I probably wouldn't even use as much of a drying ingredient in a mask, really, unless I'm having a really bad skin day and I want, like, I don't know, all the life sucked out of my spots or my pimples. So I definitely prefer the right side of my face, and as you can see there, you know, I'm trying to show you that my skin actually felt really dry and tight. So after that, I just went in with my Superdrug Vitamin E Hydrating Mist. I've talked about this mist before on my channel. It's a really good hydrating mist, as the name suggests, and it actually makes your skin feel really soft and yeah, just soft and well taken care of. It's a really good refreshing mist for during the day as well. But the bottle is a bit big to take around, but it's really good for your skin if you can take it around. So next I went in with my Natura Tonica face tonic, and this tonic is so good. It has silk amino acids, hyaluronic acid, vitamin C, and a couple of other ingredients in there, but you know, you saw the close-up so you can see what the ingredients are. You can get this tonic on eBay, but I got it from TK Maxx. So you can apply it both ways, either with a cotton pad or by dabbing it, pouring some on your hand and applying it to your face like an essence. And it says it's a tonic, but really it can be an essence because it is quite moisturizing. Next I went in with my hyaluronic acid concentrate. It's basically a big old tub of hyaluronic acid. I bought it in, I think, what was it, some kind of mad summer sale. I think it was the 4th of July sale actually. The Decium, the brand, were doing a 40% off or 50% off, something crazy, and I bought a bunch of products, and that was one of the things I bought from there because it's so much more economical than the Ordinary's hyaluronic acid serum. So I thought I'd just get a big old tub. So I applied it to the rest of my face to just get some hydration back. Next I went in with my B.Refreshed essence lotion. This is an affordable, accessible drugstore essence, and it's the only essence of its type. I got it from Superdrugs, and I like it. I like it a lot. It hasn't got, like, you know, out there ingredients. It's just good old hydrating ingredients. It has glycerin. I'm pretty sure it has vitamin E. Niacinamide is a bit further down the list. Yeah, it's just a good basic essence. It's like a starter pack basically. Next I went in with my Ordinary Niacinamide. So this is an everyday serum again. It's a good all-rounder if you have fine lines, if you have hyperpigmentation, if you need your skin to be brightened, if you need to deal with kind of scarring or just spots, and just to soften your skin condition. It's really good with texture and pores as well. So next I went in with the Ordinary Alpha Arbutin serum. So that's particularly good with hyperpigmentation and skin brightening. So if you have, again, scars and hyperpigmentation, Alpha Arbutin is meant to be a safer version for hydroquinone. And as you know, hydroquinone is banned in some countries because it's been reported to have, you know, cancer causing like side effects to it. And you know, it's one of those controversial ingredients. So Alpha Arbutin is a really good natural alternative, and it's just as effective. So next I went in with another Superdrug product, and this is the moisturizing day cream, because again, this was during the day. So I have the night cream version of this moisturizer, and they're both just as good. The only difference between the two is that the night cream is a little bit more moisturizing, and it doesn't have any sunscreen in it. So there's no sun protection factor to this, and even the sun protection factor in this cream is not enough for every day really, unless you're indoors. So if you're going out, you need to top it up with a proper sunscreen. So I love this moisturizer because it absorbs really well. It leaves your skin feeling really soft, and it has a lovely soft fragrance. The whole range from Superdrug all have a really nice scent to them, so they're not overpowering at all. So next I went in with my Malibu face sunscreen, and it's factor 50. I got it from Poundland again, and it's like 50 ml for £1. They do kind of sell out of this at times, so it depends on the Poundland you go to, and that's the amount that I normally apply. Like I said, SPF 15 is not enough if you're going out. If you're indoors, it's fine. You just want to make sure you protect your skin from UVA and UVB rays. And think of UVA as what damages your collagen production and is responsible for skin aging, whereas UVB is more what's responsible for your skin burning. So next I went in with 2 eye creams. I don't normally use 2, but they're both good for different things. So the bottom one is my vitamin E eye cream and the top one is the simple eye cream. Of the 2, I do prefer the simple for daytime and the vitamin E one for nighttime, only because sometimes I find the vitamin E eye cream can peel sometimes. When applying concealer on top of that, sometimes that can peel, but the simple one actually just absorbs in really well. Sometimes I mix the 2, and I think when I mix the 2 as well, it doesn't peel. So yeah, so I thought I'd apply both of them. They're both really nice under eye creams. They're light and they keep that under eye area nice and moisturized. And with your eye area, you can see me going really quickly, but I'm not applying too much pressure to that area. You just want to make sure that you're gentle, and when you're applying eye cream that you don't pull and tug on it, because obviously all that can lead to wrinkles. So that is it. If you haven't already, please subscribe, please hit the notification bell, and don't forget to leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think, if you tried any of these products. Until next time, stay blessed. Bye.